Let's take, for instance, again, just something simple. This could be any logo, but all I'm showing you is this is just a vector layer, guys. So this could be anything, right? I could just as easily jump in and like do a, you know, a heart, for instance, okay? So whether it's the heart or the Creative Cloud logo, I have control over sort of what I bring in. Let's just go back to this logo here. It would be that same process, guys. So I would take this 3D extrusion, I'd click Create, it would extrude it, right? So we could see it extruded right here. Looks good. I could take that and print it right now if I want to. But in general, it's that same process. I'll just rotate it that way. I will take this logo and I'll stand it up just like I did before, 90 degrees. There we are. And here, I'm going to move it to the ground. Move to ground, right? Because we got to think in like sort of real world scenarios, like I need to make sure this is on the ground so it prints from there on up. If it was off a little bit, then it's going to build all the scaffolding up to your object, okay? So even in this particular scenario, I want to think about that. Just like those printers, how they work, they build from the bottom up, I want to think about how that's going to get printed. So in the case of this logo, I definitely want to, regardless of what I'm making, I want to make sure that it's going to be set up appropriately, if that makes sense, because it's going to do it layer by layer, okay? So from there, here's this shape. I can move it up. Let's do something a little bit more exciting with even the shape of it, because I can jump in and control the extrusion, but I can even like taper it down, okay, like that. So I'm tapering it in some. And in this case, I actually do want to make this cup. So rather than me, as a designer, slapping the company's logo on a coffee cup, I'm going to turn the logo into a cup, right, like we see here. And that's what I'm working on now. Adjusting it there, again, I can taper it, I can twist it, guys. I can have fun with that. I can make it pretty cool like that. And even adjust the bevel. So let's just do this really fast. Take that. Let's just change this to white. Be easier to see. All right, so for this shape, again, I have control over the extrusion, twisting it, warping it, twirling it around, okay? So if I want to bend it any certain way, I can bend it around, okay? And that's why you see that this extrusion, for instance, and I'm sorry this is so small, you might not even be able to see it, but this is just an extrusion. I lost the gold one. Just kidding, is it over there? I'm just messing with you guys. It's just a heart that I've extruded and then sheared it or wrapped it a certain degree. So these could be earrings or a ring. So in general, that's all I did. It's taken that. I can extrude it out further. I can wrap it more if I wanted to make that ring. You guys get the idea. So let's just undo that a couple times. We're getting back to this being a cup. There it is. Let's zoom in on that. Let's not worry about the texture. There's a little bit of a texture on that. But that top edge is the next thing I need to mess with. Man, that texture is, I'm not a fan. So let's remove texture. Okay, there we are. I don't know, there's two issues with this. One, apparently I don't know how cups work, because like it has those gaps. So how do we fix that? Do we have to jump in and do some modeling? No, we don't, guys. Check it out. Selecting that layer, right? Going over here in Properties panel. Oh, thank you very much. Edit Source. So I can click there. Anything that I've extruded. Okay, cool. There it is. Let's take that. Let's jump out there. Let's, take, for instance, sort of seal up that. However you want to do it, you can start to, make any adjustments that you want without worrying about the fact that it's actually a 3D shape. So jumping in there, let's take those, let's merge them. So they're all on one layer. Okay, so just doing that quickly, and I can jump in and fine-tune that. I don't know, you guys as designers might be like, yeah, you better fix that, otherwise it's going to drive me nuts. It would drive me nuts. It's not, you know, anyways. But the short of it is I could jump in and fix this at any time. Because what did it do? It just opened up a new flat file. Like, thank you. Oh, back to the 2D world. Comfortable. Make my edits, guys. Saving that, closing it. And then we've obviously sealed it up. And it didn't take any, I didn't have to worry about any meshes or anything like that. Let's jump in. And I can add a base to it as well. But don't worry about that right now. Say, for instance, the bevel. Guys, I can give it a bevel. See, I'm giving it a bevel on the top. But I don't want you to cut your tongue, right? Again, like that's what would happen in that scenario. We can adjust the contour. So the simple stuff is what I jump in and do and make that. Hopefully the print is going okay. And this is roughly my cup, guys. That's what I want. And let's not worry about the fact that it doesn't have a bottom right now, okay? It's one of those trick cups, apparently, or something. But it's really quite simple, because all I would do is just take a solid object and extrude it a little, and that's my base, right? And that's actually what I have. So I can actually show you what that is. You know, say, for instance, this one. This one has a has the base and then even has a handle, right? And what's going on here? You just have different layers that are extruded. So I extruded something for the handle, that logo for the handle, and called it a day. All right, this is still 3D. We're stuck digitally. It's like, I want to turn this into a 3D object and hold it in my hand, right? How do we do that? How complex is that? Well, 3D, we can go to 3D print settings, okay? Selecting that will actually open up and actually changed the look of it, but it opens up this panel over here. So you have the properties panel, 3D print settings, right? If I had a long enough cord, I can connect to the MakerBot and print directly to it, right? Local. Select my, my printer just like I would for a desktop like LaserJet printer or inkjet printer. We can make it high detail. But at this point, it pretty much puts everything together as expected. If I zoom out, what if I click? Oh, I probably shouldn't have clicked that, guys. But I scaled to print volume. So it understands the size of your printer that you have selected. So it knows, just like with your printer at home, 8.5 by 11, it knows that size. And so you can scale it down if it's too large. But I always want to be aware of the size, by the way, guys. So I'll do H, there we go. Command H. I actually scaled this up when I kind of did not need to, because now it's actually the size of the print bed, or excuse me, of the printer. So that's actually the print volume area, right? So this is going to be huge. It's going to be like, it's going to be big. I don't know what you're going to do with it. But you guys get the idea. I can scale it down. And I was also showing you, it actually does give you the inches right here. So it says 4 inch, you know, like 5 inches, wow, by 9 inches, roughly. 5 by 9 by probably another 5, right? So it's going to be like that. If you really need that much coffee in the morning, I think 3D printing is the least of your worries. But nonetheless, guys, we set it up. Oh, you guys are probably thinking, again, you don't have a 3D printer because I lost you at that point probably. Like, well, that doesn't do me any good. Check it out, jumping in here. Print 2. Oh, thank you very much. Shapeways or Sculptio, 2 companies that do fulfillment for you, right? So I'm going to select Shapeways, right? It changes the color of it. Even the print volume has changed because it's saying, oh, you're printing in, you're going to be that guy that does, you're going to be the guy with the gold-plated cup. Okay, if you want to be that guy, you could be that guy. But check that out. Look at that. Come on, Drew. You got to be kidding me. Look at all that.
I kind of want one.
You kind of want
to click print.
You just like, just for that little moment of the day, you feel like a king.
Yeah.
Hey, man. I'm all for it. And you can totally do that. But if you start to take a look at all these materials, guys, look. So you have your gold-plated, you have your brass, bronze, ceramics, which is what, again, we're making here, right? Metals, plastic, 14-karat gold. The list goes on, guys. Like, there's quite an extensive list, okay? And I feel like they keep adding material. So, like, whenever I update Photoshop, I end up with these new materials. I think there was definitely the golds are new as well, but you have quite a long list.
So how do they price those? Like if somebody wanted to do that, what's a ballpark on a cost for something like that?
Yeah, let's take a look, because you're right. You want to be the guy with the 14. We're going to give you the 14-karat gold.
14-karat gold.
Because you're worth it, man. You're worth it.
Thanks.
Scale to print volume, right? So I'm just going to, and then I'm hitting this little button right down there, the print button. Click. And now it's doing that. It's repairing those meshes. It's taking care of all those issues, that you'd normally have to build into place. It makes it one solid mesh. Technically, those are multiple meshes. Makes them one. It's going to add that lattice work in as well, if it needs to. It'll thicken walls, because if it's too thin, it'll just break. But it'll thicken that, and you'll see that in a second as this works. And even when it comes to the iPhone case, which I want to show that in a second, like how this would come out as well, but we'll see that. But to answer you, yeah. Oh.
These just came out.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah,
that was fast.
So this is the one we just printed.
Okay,
and I think
nice.
The base slid a little bit, so you can kind of show.
Oh yeah, see this, and I'm glad this happened, because this does seriously happen. This is welcome to new technology. That's why you need this raft typically, and this is a common thing that happens. Yeah. Because that bottom heats up, and since it gets hot, it warps it a little bit. You have a little bit of a bending right there that happens, just as an FYI. And that's just the printer. It's not Photoshop. For the record. Yep. But again, that's what happens there. And that's a better one. Okay, nice. Okay, good. So here's definitely a better one. Where everything is put together, and it's been cleaned up a little bit. But all in all, yeah, this was pretty easy to make overall. How much was this? You were talking about price a second ago. This is like cents, right? It's not. It's pretty awesome. It's like 25 cents in terms of, it's going to be the weight, like the amount of material that you're using. Yeah. And yeah,
super
so
cool,
that's
though.
cool.
You guys can check those out.
Yeah, pass that around. Ultimately, we want to get to this, so I can show you how to do something like this. It's super easy as well, right? A simple example. All right, here we go. So I made that at home in the MakerBot. It's going to be maybe a quarter to make, because it's all about the cost of the spool. It's like a quarter, guys. It's not even. What did we do? Estimated price might differ from the. Oh, I should have had you guys guess. But you know what? You're worth it. You're worth it. $28,000. Remember, this is 14. I picked the most expensive material, the largest size we could do. And that's what you get, right? Don't let that scare you, because honestly, this done, I sent this to Shapeways. They created this fantastic print, and this was like $20, just FYI. And that's what I'd potentially pay for one in the store, but yet this is fully customizable, and it could be your 14-karat gold if you wanted to. It would be more expensive, but worth more than the phone, right? But yeah, does that make sense, guys? Yeah. So this gives you the price. You can see it's 30 grand, right? And it's all going to be based on the weight. I picked the most expensive material. And we can even do this. In fact, look what happens, guys. Like right here, you could see that it's thickened the walls as well. So it says, hey, for this material, this is going to be too thin, so we've thickened it for you. Right? You have that edge. And you can see those corrections. So you have the original mesh and then the walls thickened. Okay, exporting that out to my desktop. Call that cup. It says, hey, done. Hey, you know what? We've done our job here as Photoshop, but you need to go ahead and upload that to Shapeways to finish it out, basically. So we're going to hand you off to them. Perfect. Selecting that file. Hopefully I put it on my desktop. Or in here, There it is. There's my file that it made. I upload it, and the great thing about this, and again, I can upload to Sculpteo as well. I could always change the material at this point as well. So I'm like, 14 karat gold, 30 grand. I know I'm worth it, but my bank account would say otherwise, right? I can change that material, and you can see them all right down here, right? So Shapeways will do that check. All I have to do, add to cart. I get it in 2 weeks, right? Easy enough, yeah? Do you guys have any questions so far? I feel like I've gone over a lot, but feel free if you do have any questions. Oh, you do? All right.
I do have a question. I was just kind of amazed at the whole auto mash thing. Can you go over that a little bit? Like, what exactly is it mashing? I don't know if I'm saying that word right.
Mesh?
Mesh,
Yeah.
thank you.
No, are you saying the progress bar that when I hit print? Or?
Well, I know we're at 2D dimensions, then we're adding dimensions on different sides to make it 3D. It's blending all of those together is what that button automatically does for you, and it fixes any mistakes. I'm just...
Yeah, when I hit print, when I click this button down here, when I went down here and it's this progress bar that you saw, is that what you're referring to? Maybe.
I believe so. Yes, repairing meshes.
Yeah, repairing meshes.
Meshes, sorry.
Yeah, so just like it thickened that wall, that's kind of part of the repairing process.
Does it automatically do that for you every single time?
Every single time,
And
yeah.
have you ever had a problem with it meshing something that you didn't want it to mesh?
No, I have not. The only problems have come from me doing something weird and having an object floating out here in space. It's gonna try to it'll try to close that hole, you know, but it's like you screwed up. That piece is gonna actually that's not even screwing up, but that will actually, it'll get sent to the printer like that to Shapeways. It'll be that object floating out there. But I've never had any issues. The material, it's largely on the material I've seen. Since this is ceramic, you can't get too tight, so I don't get the detail that I want, right? But with plastics, I do. So repairing meshes sometimes thickens things. That's only because of the materials is why that happens, right?
How about applying textures, Paul?
Applying textures?
Yeah.
I'm happy to talk to you about that. Let's do that, actually. Hold on one second as we take a brief intermission. Let's just move that over there. Okay, there we go. And close that. I was doing a lot. I had multiple 3D files opening, and then I just canceled a print. So I was maxing it out. Thank you for bringing that up. That's really cool. Textures.
Yeah.
So first of all, when you think of textures, you immediately want to paint on a surface, right? Okay, that makes sense. I want to add color to it. But if it's plastic, that color is going to come from the material. So that's why when I go to Shapeways, when we saw that screen, right? Let me go back to that. It gives you the chance to pick the color. So the color is always going to will usually come from the material, right? And only in the cases of, say, for instance, the sandstone is where you'd be able to paint on it, and that color will actually come through. But color is only one side of texture, right? Because you can also add a bump map, okay? So I can give something a texture, a rough texture if I want to, or a pattern based on the bump map. That might not make sense. I'll show it to you, okay?